What started as an innocent game between two couples in suburban Phoenix would end with police tape, a body bag, and a community in absolute shock. This is not a story about adventure or liberation. This is a story about how unchecked desire led to an obsession so dark that only one person would make it out alive. But what they found that night would reveal something far more sinister than anyone could have imagined. In Paradise Valley, just outside Phoenix, Arizona, trouble was brewing beneath the surface of perfect suburban life. What began as harmless flirtation between Rebecca and Marcus Harrison, both in their early 50s, and their younger neighbors Emma and Ryan Cooper, evolved into a dark tale of lust, jealousy, and obsession. What was meant to be an adventurous escape, a partner swap, and quickly revealed itself to be something far more dangerous. An affair became an obsession, passion turned deadly, and a once quiet neighborhood was suddenly turned upside down. Rebecca Harrison stood at her window, gazing at the garden separating her house from her new neighbors. She could not stop watching them. Emma and Ryan Cooper were everything Rebecca and Marcus were no longer. Rebecca and Marcus had been married nearly 25 years. Once passionate and adventurous, time had dulled their relationship. Marcus, a successful but workaholic investment banker, had grown distant. His attention was on clients rather than his wife. They had everything one could wish for, but the excitement that once fueled their marriage had vanished. Emma, in her late 20s, was a carefree artist. Ryan was equally young and driven, and a charismatic entrepreneur. They seemed perfect, always laughing, always in sync. As Rebecca watched them, she felt a longing she had not experienced in years. She craved the passion Emma and Ryan embodied. Rebecca began finding reasons to linger outside when Ryan worked on his motorcycle. They started casual conversations. Her heart raced when he flashed his charming smiles. Marcus, on the other hand, had started to notice Emma. She was vibrant with a carefree attitude that reminded him of his youth. As the four socialized more frequently at barbecues and dinners, an unspoken tension built up. It was Rebecca who first spoke the unthinkable. In the weeks following their first meeting, Rebecca could not stop thinking about the Coopers. The youthful energy awakened feelings she had not experienced in years. She was aware of Ryan's flirtatious glances, just as she was aware of her growing attraction to him. He represented everything Marcus no longer did: youth, passion, spontaneity. It all came to a head one evening at the Paradise Valley Country Club. The atmosphere was festive, conversation growing flirtatious as wine flowed. Rebecca turned to Marcus, her voice low. "Have you ever thought about trying something different?" she asked. Marcus looked at her, confused at first, then realized what she was suggesting. He glanced at Emma, who laughed lightly, her eyes occasionally meeting his. Something stirred in him. Later that evening, back at their home, Marcus confronted Rebecca. "Are you serious?" he asked. Rebecca nodded confidently. "Yes, I think it could be exactly what we need. We are stuck. Do you not want to feel alive again?" Marcus hesitated, but the idea no longer seemed so far-fetched. At the next gathering, Rebecca brought up the idea more directly. Emma laughed at first, but Ryan seemed immediately interested. "I do not know," Emma said. "That seems pretty wild." Rebecca smiled. "Why not? Life is too short to be boring. Are you not curious?" Ryan quickly picked up on the idea. "I mean, why not? We are all adults." Emma hesitated, her gaze moving between them. There was undeniable tension in the air. The allure of adventure combined with Ryan's enthusiasm pushed her closer to agreeing. The proposal was on the table, and after some back and forth, the couples agreed. The date was set for the following weekend. The night of the swap arrived with nervous tension. Rebecca and Marcus prepared, each in their own way. Marcus could not shake the nerves, while Rebecca was filled with anticipation. She spent extra time getting ready, her heart racing with every passing minute, thoughts consumed by Ryan. The Coopers arrived shortly after 8. They were casually dressed, yet there was tension in their movements. Ryan's gaze immediately fell on Rebecca, his eyes lingering. Emma, sensing the energy, felt slight unease, but pushed it aside. The evening began with drinks and light conversation, but beneath lay undeniable tension. It did not take long before the couple split into their pairs. Rebecca and Ryan headed upstairs. As they entered the bedroom, the atmosphere was charged. Rebecca felt her heart pounding as Ryan moved closer. The moment their lips met felt like the breaking of a dam. It was wild, uninhibited, everything she had longed for. Downstairs, Marcus and Emma moved slower. They sat on the couch in silence, unsure how to begin. Their first kiss was hesitant, almost awkward, but as their bodies pressed together, restraint melted away. Marcus felt drawn to Emma's gentleness, her quiet confidence. Throughout the night, both couples gave in to their desires. When it was over, they met again in the living room. There was thick, uncomfortable silence between them. Something had changed. They said their goodbyes, but the tension remained, a subtle acknowledgement that the dynamic would never recover. The days following the swap were marked by uncomfortable tension. For Rebecca, the excitement of the night with Ryan lingered, but with it came growing unease. She had not expected Ryan to become so attached. What started as spontaneous fun quickly developed into something far more intense. Ryan could not stop thinking about Rebecca. The night left him craving more, and he began making excuses to see her. He constantly messaged her, flirtatious texts that grew more intense. At first, Rebecca played along, but soon Ryan's messages became demanding. He showed up unannounced, lingering outside until she let him in. Emma noticed the growing distance between herself and Ryan. Their once passionate marriage had taken a back seat to Ryan's obsession with Rebecca. He spent less time with her, often retreating to his office or leaving for hours without explanation. But Emma had her own secret. The connection she felt with Marcus that night had been deeper than expected. It was not just physical attraction. There was quiet understanding between them. In the days after, Emma found herself thinking about Marcus more than she should. She replayed their conversations, remembered how he had listened without impatience or distraction. The emotional connection left a lasting impression. The affair between Rebecca and Ryan quickly spiraled out of control. Ryan's obsession became more apparent each day. What had started as playful flirting morphed into something darker. He began showing up unannounced, sending increasingly erratic texts, making veiled remarks about wanting to be with her permanently. Rebecca had been flattered at first. He made her feel desired and alive. But now, as Ryan's behavior became unpredictable, she felt growing fear. Ryan's constant presence unsettled her, and his escalating possessiveness made clear this was no longer casual. One afternoon, Rebecca came home to find Ryan waiting outside. He had not called, and his sudden appearance startled her. "What are you doing here?" she asked, her voice trembling. Ryan smiled, but his gaze unsettled her. "I just wanted to see you. I've been thinking about you all day." Rebecca forced a smile. "Ryan, we talked about this. We agreed to keep it casual, but Ryan was not listening." He stepped closer. "I know you feel the same way, Rebecca. You cannot deny it. We are meant for each other." Rebecca's heart raced as she backed away. "Ryan, you need to go." The intensity in Ryan's eyes shifted. His smile faded. "I am not going anywhere. I know you feel it too. You belong to me, not Marcus." Fear surged through Rebecca as she realized how far Ryan had fallen into obsession. Ryan's obsession was no longer secret. It had become his entire life. He could not stop thinking about Rebecca replaying their night together. The thought of her with Marcus made him furious. He neglected his work, spending hours driving by the Harrison house. His business began to crumble as he missed deadlines and ignored clients. Emma, increasingly concerned, confronted him one evening. She had noticed the change since the swap, how distant he had become. "Ryan, what is going on with you?" Emma asked, her voice trembling with frustration. "You have been acting so strange." Ryan sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the floor. "I am fine," he muttered. Emma's patience had run out. "Do not lie to me. Are you having an affair?" Ryan's head snapped up, eyes narrowing. "What are you talking about?" "I found the photos, Ryan," Emma said, her voice breaking. She pulled out her phone, showing the secret pictures Ryan had taken of Rebecca. Some harmless, others far more intimate. Ryan had secretly photographed her, capturing her in vulnerable moments. Ryan's face paled. He jumped up, snatching the phone. "You have no right to go through my things," he shouted. Emma stared at him, tears welling up. "What have we become, Ryan? Who is this person you have turned into?" But Ryan remained silent before muttering, "You would not understand." "Try me," Emma said sharply, but Ryan did not respond. He stormed out, leaving Emma alone, her heart shattered. Ryan's obsession only deepened. He became reckless, driving by the Harrison house late at night, waiting to catch a glimpse of Rebecca. His messages became more frequent, more intense. For Rebecca, Ryan's unpredictable behavior was terrifying. She tried to distance herself, but every attempt made Ryan more desperate. He showed up unannounced, left cryptic notes, and sent late-night messages confessing his love. One night, while Marcus was at the office, Rebecca sat in the dimly lit living room when her phone buzzed with a message from Ryan. "I am outside. Let me in." Rebecca's heart raced. Panic surged as she looked out the window and saw Ryan's silhouette in the driveway. She quickly typed back, "Go home, Ryan. This has to stop." But instead of leaving, Ryan began walking toward the house. Rebecca called Marcus, her voice shaking. "He is outside, Marcus." "He will not go away." Marcus, still at the office, dropped everything. "I am on my way. Lock the doors. Do not let him in." Rebecca paced the living room as Ryan knocked on the front door. "Rebecca, I just want to talk. Please let me in." Her hands trembled as she messaged Marcus again. Each knock felt like the ticking of a clock. She grabbed the kitchen knife just in case and crouched behind the counter. Outside, Ryan became more desperate, circling the house, peering into windows. When he reached the patio door, he saw it. The sliding door Rebecca had forgotten to lock. With one swift motion, Ryan opened the door and stepped inside. His breathing was heavy, his eyes filled with anger and desperation. He moved through the house, calling out for Rebecca. "Rebecca, where are you? We need to talk." His footsteps echoed as he entered the kitchen, and finally his gaze fell on her crouched behind the counter. "Why are you hiding from me?" he asked, his voice cold and threatening. "I told you to leave, Ryan," Rebecca said, gripping the knife tighter. But Ryan was not listening. He rushed toward her, and in that split second, Rebecca swung the knife, striking Ryan in the side. He staggered back, shock and pain flaring in his face as he looked down at the blood. "Rebecca," he whispered weakly as he collapsed. Seconds later, Marcus burst through the front door, his eyes widening in horror as he saw Ryan on the floor, blood pooling around him. Rebecca stood frozen, the knife still in her hand. Marcus rushed to her, pulling her into his arms as they both stared at the lifeless body. As the sirens wailed in the distance, Rebecca sat trembling in Marcus's arms, staring at Ryan's lifeless body on the kitchen floor. The horror of what had just happened set in, and the weight of the situation pressed down on her. She never thought the swap would lead to this tragic, violent end, a decision made in a moment of weakness. Minutes later, the police arrived, led by detectives Daniel Morgan and Rachel Bennett. The once quiet and pristine neighborhood was now the center of a murder investigation. Yellow tape surrounded the Harrison house, drawing curious glances from neighbors who had been awakened by the chaos. Detective Morgan, a seasoned investigator, entered the house and assessed the scene. Detective Bennett, his sharp partner, followed closely. The sight of Ryan's body painted a grim picture. "Looks like a domestic dispute gone wrong," Morgan muttered as he knelt beside the body. The bloodied knife lay near Rebecca, who sat silently in the corner, eyes red from crying. Over the next hours, detectives gathered statements from Rebecca and Marcus to reconstruct events. Rebecca, through tears, explained how Ryan's obsession had spiraled, how he showed up wanting to see her, and how she acted in self-defense when he broke in. "Why did you not call the police earlier?" Morgan asked. "I did not think he would actually come inside," Rebecca stammered. "I thought if I ignored him, he would leave. But he did not. I was so scared." The detectives nodded, but Morgan's gaze remained critical. At first glance, it seemed like clear self-defense, but something left him uneasy. As the investigation progressed, detectives dug deeper into both couples' backgrounds. They discovered text messages between Rebecca and Ryan, showing an affair that had gone from playful to obsessive. The messages showed Ryan's growing desperation and Rebecca's increasing attempts to distance herself. They also found evidence of Ryan's erratic behavior. Neighbors reported seeing him parked outside the Harrison house at odd hours. His business had been falling apart as he neglected clients. It became clear Ryan had been consumed by obsession with Rebecca. But detectives also uncovered a pattern of manipulation and secrecy plaguing both couples since the swap. Emma, reeling from events, was brought in for questioning. She revealed the extent of Ryan's obsession, the secret photos, and the growing distance in their marriage. "I tried to talk to him," Emma said, her voice filled with pain. "But he would not listen. It was like he was a different person." The detectives also spoke with Marcus, who admitted the swap had been a mistake from the start. He had not realized how deeply it would affect everyone involved. As pieces came together, it became clear this was not just simple self-defense. It was a tragedy born from unchecked desires, poor decisions, and an obsession that had spiraled completely out of control. Rebecca had acted in self-defense, but the circumstances were far more complicated. In the end, the district attorney decided not to press charges against Rebecca. The evidence supported her claim of self-defense, and it was clear Ryan had been the aggressor. But the damage was done. Lives of everyone involved were shattered beyond repair. Rebecca and Marcus tried to move forward, but the weight of what happened hung over them like a dark cloud. Their marriage, already fragile before the swap, could not survive the trauma. They eventually separated, each trying to rebuild their lives. Emma, left to pick up pieces of her shattered life, moved away from Paradise Valley. The memories were too much to bear. She started over in a new city, trying to leave the past behind. And the neighborhood that had once been so quiet was now forever marked by the tragedy. Detective Morgan, reflecting on the case months later, said in an interview, "This was not just about an affair. It was about control, obsession, and what happens when people stop thinking about consequences." Ryan let his desires consume him, and in the end, it cost him everything. The story of Rebecca Harrison, Marcus Harrison, Ryan Cooper, and Emma Cooper remains a sobering reminder of how quickly lives can unravel when boundaries are crossed and obsessions take hold. The tragedy in Paradise Valley serves as a chilling reminder of how desire can spiral into destruction. What began as a search for excitement ended in death and shattered lives. Rebecca, Marcus, and Emma are still trying to rebuild, but the scars of that decision will follow them forever. The case remains a stark warning about unchecked obsession and devastating consequences when people fail to recognize the line between adventure and recklessness. If this story left you thinking about the fine line between desire and obsession, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into true crime cases that expose the darkest corners of human nature. We bring you real stories of betrayal, manipulation, and consequences that change lives forever. Do not miss our next investigation, where we uncover another shocking case. Turn on notifications so you never miss an upload, and let us know in the comments what case you want us to cover next.